Jill Lawler, 63 Sarasota Avenue, Lawler. Long night, but it is after 11, so I'm not quite sure if we're still in a legal meeting. I think after 10 you need to actually uphold, but I'll just leave that for you guys to figure out. Wanted to mention, it's been noted many times tonight that the town is not in compliance with the state law. I just want to point out on December 18th, 2023, there was a second reading where the council, I was a member of it, voted on text revisions to be in compliance with state law. So Council President, can you please ask the town solicitor if we currently are in compliance with state law on all the amendment changes you're trying to make right now?
I'll just let you finish your testimony, and then I will ask the solicitor.
Okay, because we are.
Yeah.
Because we are. And
Okay.
I also just want to state that the 3 council people that voted in 2023 on this, we took a lot of heat from the Speaker of the House. I've never had my name on the front page of the Projo as many times before. I think Steve will probably say the same. He took to talk radio to talk about us. How dare we not comply with the state of Rhode Island law, really basically what he wanted. But as I've learned from listening to Mr. Brady, there is an enabling act in this state, and this town does have home rule, that we are, as a body, able to take our own zoning and create the type of town that we want to live in. And that is what the planning board did in 2023, and I was proud to stand behind them and vote in a way that had my name gone through mud by the Speaker of the House, in print and on radio, and I would do it again today. And for Mr. Brady tonight, what a man of courage to come here and to so eloquently speak about this. He's trying to save our town. Now, many of you have stated that there was a mandate, you were given a mandate to go through with these ordinance changes. And I know, Councilor Vagnelli, you mentioned that when you campaigned, you heard a lot about the fact that people wanted changes to the zoning laws. Well, I don't know whose door you knocked on, but Steve and I knocked on doors for 8 weeks, 4 to 5 hours a day on the weekend. So that's between 64 and 80 hours total knocking on doors. From those doors of actual registered voters in Narragansett, we barely heard any complaints about this. I know, Donna, you've had issue when you tried to expand your deck, and that maybe we heard a little about too. Maybe there should be some changes, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be. There should be. But the changes in wiping out the zoning of 40 years is just kind of crazy. You know what we heard a lot about? We heard a lot about the fact that our community is deteriorating. We heard about the fact that we tell people there are 33 kindergartners in our school system right now, and I'll never forget knocking on a door when the parent said to us, you know what? That's one of my kids, and we're scared. And I heard tonight talking about the fact that at some point we might have to go to regionalizations of our school system, and nobody wants that. We want to be able to have a community that is active and thriving with our families. But right now, if we can't get our hands around the short-term rentals in this town, if we can't actually have ordinances being enforced, I forget which speaker said it because it was such a long time ago after Mr. Doherty tried to break Cory Booker's record right there. Someone said that we're not enforcing the 3-student regulation, and that's true. There is currently a 3-student, which is illegal, abiding, has never been, the Providence has been held up for years. We're not enforcing it. And I know myself and many others have asked you, how come we're not? There's never been an answer to that. So you're not protecting the town. You're not enforcing our laws. And from that is much more. It's changing our community. We're not going to have young families here. A lot of talk about playgrounds. Hey, it would be great if we had the best playgrounds in the state. But if we don't have kids in those playgrounds, what good are they going to be? We need to concentrate on making changes to bring families to town so that we can have a thriving community, that we can be proud of the Mariners graduating class. I forget how many of you said, Council President, it's down to less than 100 this year. That's pretty sad. I mean, Christine Wilson, our finance director, talked about our budget. We spend half of our money on education in this town, and it's going to get lower and lower as we go through. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of tired of having Casey Montanaro have to run fundraisers in town to try to find people another rental property to live in, because the rental property they're currently living in is being sold out from underneath their feet because people recognize how much money they can make in this current environment. So we have good people like Casey that want to be able to help and bring families to town, but unless good people like you want to help everybody here who's talking, it's just not going to happen. So please, I agree with Jesse. One of you, please have the courage tonight. You all ran on the fact that you wanted to have courage and you wanted to be open. The one thing you didn't run on is we want to wipe out the zoning laws. I went back to try to check, what did you run on? So I looked at your websites, and I apologize if I didn't get everybody's website, everything you wrote. But Alex, you said you want to support local business, you want to strengthen the schools, protect our environment, and restore a welcoming community. Ms. Vagnelli, you said you wanted to be fair, inclusive, you were collaborative and active listening. And there's one quote that I read from you in a letter you wrote to the newspaper that I must read. I choose to start with what's working and then find solutions to adjust to what isn't. Your name was on the motion to stop this whole overflowing. That doesn't match that quote. So people who voted for you voted for that quote because you never said what I want to do is wipe out the zoning. Mr. Durkin, you wrote on the fact that you want to be able to have a balanced solutions for short-term rentals. You wanted to talk about parking accessibility and for all tax-paying residents of the town. You want to protect coastal assets in Galilee. Don't write and forget you, Ryan. Because actually, Ryan, you were pretty much the only person who said anything to have to do with these ordinances. You said you wanted inclusive to listen. You said that you wanted to repeal and replace a short-term rental. Congratulations. You're the only one who said that. Nobody else did. Jason, yours was more vague. You wanted to support our schools, protect our beach and river, and then Jason values kindness and compromise. That was it. Nowhere here did anybody say, I've got the great idea to get rid of 40 years of zoning that has been fought by multiple councils of multiple partisanships. Nobody thought that. No one voted for this. So, who voted for it? We all know that the university students got involved in this campaign, and it's great for university students to get involved. And we had 968 college-age students vote here. This represents about 10% of the electorate who voted, because about 9,100 voted here this year. They're not here tonight. You're not representing them. And it's kind of crazy that they can vote here to begin with, but it's legal. Our former police chief had a saying that just kind of made me smile sometimes. That's lawful but awful. So here's what the state of Rhode Island allows for. If a university student wants to vote here, they just need to come down to town hall, show their university ID, provide their last four of their social security number, and then state their address. State their address here in town. If Michelle Quoshaw was here tonight for Parks and Rec, she would tell you that any person that rents here year-round in Narragansett and wants to get a beach pass needs to come to the beach facility with at least 2 proofs of address on a bill coming in, utility bill. So it's crazy that that can happen, but it did. And there's no mechanism in effect to stop to see if they're actually registered in another location. So there's no way of knowing that. So if it happens in Narragansett, it can happen in any other college town. And this could be a dramatic change for our state. But we need to fix this. And I don't want to say not allow university students to vote in town, but they came. I had a breakfast meeting I was at with the council president, and I showed him a screenshot that I was given. I was a lonely person out here the day before the election in town hall, out there campaigning, and some university students, we kept seeing them come, dropping in the voting box, coming in and voting. And so one of my friends who was with me said to one of the university students, "Why are you here? What's going on?" And she showed him a screenshot that she was sent by her sorority, where it said to vote for the 5 of you because they are the people that are for the students. And then it also said, please vote for these other bonds or URI bonds. Perfectly legal. I'm not saying that you weren't elected rightfully, you were. But I just want to point out at who elected you. Because if you take away that 10%, you'd have 3 different people up there right now. So we need to fix that for future, because if we don't, the university is going to dictate to this town what's going to happen. And having on that, and just one more point, because I must, as far as our solicitors, Council President, you did have your beginning slide of talking about how did we get to this point. Well, we got to this point after you were elected. The former council had to have 1 additional meeting just because of nothing that you did or the town did. The state hadn't actually officiated the results left. So your first meeting was on the 25th of November. And then on the 2nd of December, where you typically go ahead and you appoint solicitors, it was brought up by Mr. Durkin that he'd like to hold off on appointing solicitors and ask Mr. Tierney if he could schedule interviews for the very first meeting in January for the town solicitors, which of course Mr. Tierney obliged to. So on the 6th of January, you met at 4:30 for a 2.5-hour meeting, which also included an update on collective bargaining for the fire department. And during that period of time, you interviewed and then met and discussed solicitors. So with not having even worked with a solicitor for the zoning or the solicitor for the town council, and I must add that as far as the zoning solicitor and the planning solicitor, I've been told that every single member of the planning board, every single member of the zoning board wrote to you saying, please keep this attorney, we need him. Same is true about the town council attorney. I've heard that department heads, the current town manager, the former town manager, all wrote to you and explained how much Mr. Davis was needed. Mr. Davis had a unique ability to be able to get back in a timely manner because the town was his largest client. And there are often times where the department heads are held with making a decision on the spot and they need to have a really quick response. So for some reason, without having worked with these individuals, who the town and who the planning board and the zoning board begged you to keep in, you decided not to. So who did you bring in? Mr. Callahan is a fan favorite. He's been here a lot. But you also brought in Rep. Craven. Representative Craven was in a picture last week, standing next to the Speaker of the House with his arm around him. 2 over from them was the University of Rhode Island president. So we kind of see here that the University of Rhode Island now, as well as the Speaker of the House, really kind of have a hold in what's going on here at the town council. And the last thing that I want to say was I hadn't even thought about it until Mr. Doherty spoke this evening, is about the race for governor. It's obvious that these zoning changes are a way to either have the Speaker of the House win and have the town be able to overturn and have his view, or have the governor, the current governor, get his view of the 2030. Hadn't thought about that, but I think there's gonna be a third option coming, at least I hope. Narragansett's own Helena Folks. Hopefully she'll throw her hat in and we'll have more to talk about. But please, guys, do what Jesse suggested. One of you be brave. Be brave. Just say, we went too quickly, whether it be on getting rid of solicitors, trying to get rid of all your zoning. Have the courage to say, we went too quick. Let's slow it down and let's just work with the town. Thank you.